Guys, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Ken, and today we're here to review Inside Out 2, the latest Pixar film. And
Yeah.
I believe, is this the first Pixar film we've ever done an official review for? Because I feel like it might. I feel like it might be. I'm putting you on the spot. I think it is.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think it is. I think it's the first one. So yeah, Inside Out 2, we're going to talk about it. We're going to give our thoughts. Before we do that, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. We talk about movies, TV shows. We do entertainment news live streams every Monday night. So if you like that kind of stuff, hit the subscribe button. Also,
like the video.
Like the video, like she said. And then comment down below if you saw Inside Out 2 this weekend. What did you think? I mean, a lot of people saw this movie. It killed it at the box office. So
it absolutely did.
Inside Out 2. Where do you want to go with this first?
Yeah, so we got Inside Out 2. I think we said 9 years later.
9 years, yeah.
So a much anticipated part 2 to Inside Out. I feel like I hold a lot of nostalgia for Inside Out 2, or I'm sorry, Inside Out, the first one.
Yeah.
Just because, we have kids and they were, was our daughter even alive?
Yeah, 2015. She was
okay.
a year old. So I have this memory. We saw Inside Out, and we took the whole family, and our daughter was whining in the theater, and you had to get up and take her out. And there was like 30, because she's a good parent that doesn't let the kid cry in the theater. She took our daughter out of the theater, and me and our son finished the movie. It was like the last 30 minutes.
Well, that would make sense because she would have been like one.
Yeah, I don't even think she would have been one yet because I think it was in the summer of 2015.
Yeah, so anyway, I'm super nostalgic for anything that came out when our kids were little. Hashtag parents, mom life. It just makes me super weepy and all the feelings. And so, yeah, I was excited to hear that they were making another Inside Out just because the first one was so good. I feel like we both liked it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I remember buying it, digitally before I super got into physical media, and we watched it over and over again at home. So that movie's it just ingrained in my mind, I feel like. Yeah,
just really good. One of those just get you in your feels type movie. It's, one of those for all the ages, for the kids and the grown-ups. And so, yeah, I was excited that they were coming out with a part 2 finally. And I was especially excited because we were getting some new emotions. And so I was excited to see all of those and what kind of personalities that they were going to have. And so, yeah, this movie did not really disappoint. I feel like overall I really enjoyed it. I will say I'm not quite sure if I enjoyed it more than the first one, though. Again, I don't know if it's the nostalgia of the first one or what.
But that's not a slight, though, because the first one's really good. Like, it's one of the best Pixar movies, in my opinion.
Which we've had a few days to think about it as well. And so I'll get into, I think, what my issue was with this movie, but not yet. So overall, really good, really solid.
I think where my apprehension for this film, I figured it would probably be fine. But Pixar's track record as of lately isn't great. I don't feel like they've made a great animated film in quite a long time. So I was a little apprehensive about this one and if it was going to be any good or not. Because I like Toy Story 4, but to me, that one felt like a sequel that just wasn't necessary. So.
Gotcha. Well, what did you think about this?
I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it a lot. I think that if it wasn't for the first one being so great, this one would probably stick out a little bit more for me.
Okay.
But it feels kind of similar to the first one, and because that came first and it's more original, this one would drop just a little bit. But I'll say that this might be the best Pixar sequel other than the Toy Story sequels, like 2 and 3.
Okay.
I can't think of a Pixar sequel like The Incredibles 2 I like a lot, but I would probably put this above The Incredibles 2.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that one. With this one, the highlight was that Riley, the girl that we followed through with, she was 11 in the first one, but they did this nice, what do you call it, montage of her before years as well. Which again, if you're a parent, like you can just really like resonate with that, like just seeing your kid grow up like that and go through all the stages.
Yeah.
So we did get some of that in there, and then in this one, we skipped just a couple of years, and she's going into high school.
I also like how they didn't like try to force like some kind of like boyfriend or crush or something like that.
That's true, yeah.
Because I feel like that should be saved for like Inside Out 3 maybe.
Yeah.
As she progresses, because that may happen when you're 13, but I do feel like it is more about your friends as you leave your childhood.
Yeah.
And into adolescence. So I like that this movie focused on that.
That is true. I didn't really think about it. They do have like the whole like boy band aspect to it. They kind of let it know that she has some like this boy band crush kind of thing, which is very like accurate. I was a young girl, and so that was pretty on par.
I thought that whole sequence where they were talking about the bands they like and everything. Yeah. I found that to be very relatable because the bands you like are never cool enough, it feels like, when you're in high school and people are talking about music. It always feels like somebody knows more or knows a band that's more obscure than you do. Yeah. It's like a competition.
And just to like clarify, Riley's not in high school yet. She's like in 8th grade, and she's kind of like around 9th graders, or maybe they're older. I think they're freshmen.
I think they're already in high school, and she's heading into high school.
Yeah.
So they're at like a summer hockey camp or something like that.
Yeah. So kind of going off of that, someone had mentioned that they wished that this movie had been more about high school, that's what they were kind of anticipating or expecting from this movie. And they chose to like focus about like they made this whole story like about a 3-day camp that she went to. Yeah. And so I think that I kind of feel the same way. I don't know, the fact that this was just over a few days. I don't know. Maybe it'll be an Inside Out, 3.
I was gonna say that's what I kind of like about it, because it's very specific with the time period that it chooses, that it's selecting.
Yeah, I don't know if
I do think it's
plus or a negative for me.
I do think it's a really important time period, like right as you're transitioning, not to adulthood. True. But like from childhood to preteen to teen to in the thick of your teenage years, which could be the next one.
But if you think about it, they could have chosen to focus on the summer before 9th grade.
They could have.
They could have went through a whole summer, which I feel like would have been good. But
instead, did they go through a long time period in the first one? I mean, they did, like in the beginning when they were going through the stuff. But like when they actually got to the meat of the movie, like it was over the course of a few days as well.
Yeah, I don't know. This one was just, like you said, very specific. And I don't know. I don't know if it could have been better had they focused on a whole summer. There definitely would have been... They would have been able to incorporate like more experiences and could have like experimented more with different feelings by that, with that kind of approach to it. So I don't know. Just quickly talking about the new emotions that we got. I mean, it's all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking a lot about Riley. Like Riley is kind of takes it. I mean, I don't know. I feel like she was in the movie quite a bit. But that she always takes a backseat, I'd say, to like the actual emotions in her head.
I don't know. I feel like it's pretty equal.
I feel like this one was more equal than the last one.
Yeah,
now that I say that.
We got anxiety, we got embarrassment, we got envy, and we got one that we're not quite sure of.
I'll call him chillax. He was just very chill.
Yeah, nonchalant.
Yeah. It's kind of like our son, to be honest.
Bored. I forget what they called him, but which also, did you know this? So Inside Out. We had the cast that we had. We had, Amy Poehler. Is that how you say her name?
Amy Poehler.
Poehler.
I know what you're getting ready to say, and yes, I just found it out myself.
Yeah. So Bill Hader and Mindy, what's her name? Kaling, they did not come back for this one.
I was thinking it though when we were watching. I was like, they sound different. Like I thought they both sounded different.
Really?
So I picked up on it, but I was like, maybe it's just I'm just in my head.
I did not even notice, and so I heard that it was a money thing. That they wanted to pay.
Well, they're not the big emotions. I would argue they're the least important emotions of the 5.
You think?
Lewis Black as anger, like he gets all the best lines. I feel like, all the big funny moments.
Yeah, he's good. He's good. So anyway, I didn't know that until the other day after we had already seen the movie.
But sadness and joy are clearly always the focal point. It feels like.
So apparently it was a money issue, so they weren't back. I didn't miss them at all. Ken apparently noticed, but
I did notice.
I felt like the people that took over did a fine job, and so yeah. And then I'll just quickly talk about too something that like personally resonated with me was that they have good old anxiety.
Yeah. Played by Maya Hawke, daughter of Ethan Hawke, Uma Thurman.
Yeah, so they had a new emotion, anxiety, and so you know, I feel like unfortunately a lot of people can resonate with that emotion, and so me personally, like I have really bad bouts of anxiety, and so I was kind of weirdly enough excited to see anxiety portrayed in like a kid cartoon. I guess because it just maybe makes it a little bit more fun. I don't know, even though it's like really
you like to see yourself, you know, represented on screen.
Yeah, even though it's like a horrible thing to experience, but yeah, I think that it was a fun character. I do feel like it was kind of an interesting. I mean, it is a kid movie at the end of the day. Just the way that anxiety was like physically portrayed, she's like very crazy looking, you know. So it kind of almost looks like she's like a silly emotion or something.
I liked the parts, we talked about this, but like in the beginning, when they portray anxiety as someone that likes to plan and think of like every possible outcome. Yeah. Because that's literally me, like at all times. Like I'm always thinking about like, where do I go next in life? How do I do this? How do I accomplish this to make this happen? Yeah. I think all the scenarios out, and that's how they portray it in the beginning. And then in the later stages, they more portray it like what you go through. Yeah,
that is kind of interesting.
So how just kind of the stages of anxiety.
Yeah, you can kind of have different stages of anxiety, and you know it's different for everyone. And so yeah, it was cool to see it portrayed like that. You know, Riley has a panic attack in this, which was also like really almost emotional for me to see. Yeah. Just because I could like sympathize with her because I've had my fair share of panic attacks, and so. I don't know.
They just do a really good job of, you know, portraying these emotions and how they affect Riley. Yeah. And they did it in the last one too, but like in this one in particular, they just do a really good job of having all like these emotions like working together, and it just makes sense.
Yeah, like, it's so like think about it. It's so relatable, you know. You feel like seen, and I guess it kind of makes you think too, like if we all like can relate to it, we're just like. Wow, like we're all kind of the same, you know. We all have the same kind of feelings and thoughts and stuff. But, yeah, I don't know. I thought that embarrassment was pretty funny. You know, he doesn't say a lot, but you know, it's.
I like nostalgia because that's one that's.
There was even
that's really important to me. It's not an emotion that she has yet, but nostalgia keeps popping in. Are you ready for me yet? They're like, no, not yet.
Yeah, they're
You'll
like
get nostalgia when you're like
that
20,
comes
25.
after your 10-year high school reunion and 2 kids and something. It was pretty funny, and so and then you know there were some other like it's just very like creative and like there's a part where. The emotions are like trying to get back to the home base or whatever you want to call it. And there's like Riley's having a brainstorm or something. And so there's like a physical like storm with all these like little light bulbs with thoughts, you know, like for a brainstorm. It's just very clever.
It felt like a real return to form for Pixar for me. It just felt like they were back, you know, the creativity, the creativity with the script and just how everything was written and how it was laid out there. It just felt like, you know, they were back to their old selves. So I thought it was a pretty I don't know if I'd say great, but it's very good. Maybe I'll say great if I rewatch it and like it more, but it's a very solid movie. And also just for a little bit of criticism, it is very much, to me, felt a little like rinse, wash, and repeats. Kind of the same formula like we got in the last one. You know, the emotions get ousted from the headquarters. They have to find their way back, and that's what happens to joy and sadness in the first one. Yeah. They run into casts of characters in their travels. And I will say that I felt the absence of Bing Bong. I didn't want them to recreate another Bing Bong for this, but like he was such a big, important part of that one. Yeah. And this movie doesn't really have anything like that. I liked, what was it, Pouchy, I think.
Oh, that was funny,
Pouchy was funny, but it wasn't a Bing Bong.
I mean, all in all, it was really great. and very enjoyable. And I could definitely see myself watching it again for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that we saw it in the theater.
Yeah, and I'll say that it deserves to make the money that it's making. I'm glad that it's successful, and
yeah,
I really do think it's the best Pixar sequel, other than the 2 Toy Story sequels, 2 and 3, because those are like top tier for me. But
all right, well, where are you going to rate it?
Gosh, I'll give it a 4.5.
Oh, wow.
I'll give it a 4.5 because I would give the first one like a 5. So
that's true.
I'll give this a 4.5. I think it's really good.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
A little bit lower. You had some problems with the story.
I mean, I don't know.
You wanted more high school boyfriends, crushes.
I guess I just wanted like a few more
periods,
experiences, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was very...
Well, maybe they're saving that. They got to have a third one. They don't want to jump to adulthood. I mean, that's boring. You know?
Yeah.
So.
But still, really good. Really good. So.
Yeah, it was good. But what are your thoughts on Inside Out 2? Let us know in the comment section below, or let us know if you're going to see it. I anticipate this movie's going to be in the theaters for a very long time.